near the table where he can, depend on his backhand, short rallies. There it is, inside the table, the backhand. It's sort of the law of averages. You play the greatest of all time, hypothetically. You don't want to play a best of 9. You want to play 1 point, essentially a coin toss, right? So shorter rallies give the underdog a better chance.
5, 6.
That said, you have to be very calculated because there's a reason Patrick Franziska has been inside the top 10 for some time now. And it's not luck.
Six, all. Seven, 6.
Robles there with a real display of power. You talked to him about getting the points finished off quickly. That was another example.
Yeah, he's really making that opening attack count. He's very physically fit.
Six, 8.
And now with a 2-point lead, it's been back and forth throughout, looking at the scoreboard from time to time, just checking in, enjoying the actual action itself.
Six, 9.
This for me is a big point. To load the ball with spin when you're not getting the opening attack, forced into, say, a passive receive, reminding yourself that there are many ways to win a point against a player so powerful. And now a 3-point lead for Robles at the business end of the game.
Oh, into the net. That is unlucky for the Spaniard.
A taste of his own medicine, a slow spinny shot as Patrick Franziska plays this one with heavy spin, a little bit more shallow, leaving it in front of Robles. No need to play it to where your opponent is standing. Use the in and out game.
10, 7.
Well, it's an impressive start for Alvaro Robles, taking the opening game 11 points to 7. Good start for the Spaniard to open up this men's singles round of 32. Patrick Franziska, the higher ranked of the two, unable to really make his mark in that one. Well, these are the top-ranked men's movers, both Alvaro Robles and Patrick Franziska on that one. Alvaro Robles up 31 places in the world rankings. Franziska has moved up 17. Both of these players heading very much in the right direction. Robles ranked 30. Franziska ranked 8 at the moment. These are the top movers at this event.
Come on.
Well, both players taking the chance to refuel ahead of this second game, obviously expecting an intense encounter here. Robles taking the opener, 11 points to 7. Franziska, it'll be fascinating to see his response now in this second game.
Love 1.
In the spirit of the short rallies, he's committing very early to his decisions. What I mean by that is when Alvaro plays, even in a push, he gets it right off the bounce, which gives his opponent less time, gives him more time to set up for the next shot and be prepared for a good attack to follow up against the defensive ball.
1, 2.
Franz doing a wonderful job with that backhand rip to drive his opponent behind the table.
3-1.
It's a big man to step around that far to play the backhand on the forehand side. Just goes to show you how much better the shot is with that wrist.
4-1.
This is why top players, especially in the men's game, will move over to that forehand side to receive with their backhand. You just get more wrist action. But a nice handcuffing serve there. Gets a second thought from Robles, who pops up the ball from under the table.
1-5. One, 6.
Impressive stuff indeed from the world number 8, Franziska. Having lost that opening game, he now has looked to have found a bit of a rhythm and is looking really confident in this second one, Adam.
Yeah, he's doing a wonderful job to take control earlier in the rally. But stolen here. The ball sits up just a little bit, and Robles right there over the table. The aggression.
Well, both serving pretty well, both consistent on serve, and just a couple of percentage points in that just shows how evenly matched these players are.
Yeah, in a best of 5, time flies. That first game is a bigger piece of the pie. You only need 3 to win here. And a flick, a bit of aggression inside the table with the forehand as well, as Robles makes his campaign here, still has a ways to go. Franziska started this one quite differently than we saw the scoreboard in game 1.
Four, 7.
Robles now looking to reduce that deficit, and it's amazing, isn't it, how quickly things can change.
The 11-point game, it's been some time now. The new millennium here. Marathon rally, and from behind the table, it's Robles to continue on his streak. What is that now? 3 in a row, and within 2, that far behind the table, keeping the top spin on. You'll see players on the attack, keeping it to the backhand, trying to avoid the forehand, but Robles earned himself a forehand just a shot before that to put that extra pressure on. By the way, that wasn't a cheeky comment. In terms of the 11-point game, I grew up watching the 21-point game. My favorite player, Jan-Ove Waldner, most of his career, games to 21 points. A lot of people in the world still playing that way if they don't keep up with competitive table tennis, but you're here watching the best. Oh, Franz with the fishing way back, and Robles, a tall man, gets on top of every bounce to keep the pressure on. It is a lot of footwork and a lot of shoulder strength needed to come down on these high lobbing balls.
Time out.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. And we have our first timeout of this match. It's Patrick Franziska who's called for the break, and perhaps not surprising given that that comfortable, seemingly comfortable lead he had is fast disappearing.
Here in our museum, we grab culture by the foot and bring it right to you. You can't spell museum without you and me.
Wouldn't it be cool if building a website felt like working in your favorite design tool? With Framer, it is. First,
Dein Aufgabe weiter raus. Sehr gut bei die Banane auf. Geh an seinen Aufschlag auf, und wenn du mal einen langen kassierst, geh 80% mit Rückhand an seine Aufschläge ran. Legst da ab oder spielst Banane. Und wie gesagt, wenn du kurz legst, über Vorhand. Wenn er kurz legt, nochmal über Vorhand. Holst das Franz. Komm on, positiv, genau. Allez, come on. Allez, come on.
Well, some motivational words indeed for Patrick Franziska, who will be looking to extend that lead once again, just a single point in it. But Robles very much with the momentum at the moment.
7-6.
Some motivation for the crowd as well with Magic Patrick out here. Little shirt change, got the crowd quite excited.
I think they liked what they saw, didn't they?
Who wouldn't? That said, 4 on the trot here for Robles.
6-8.
Good way to come out of your timeout. Stopping the comeback streak here. Much needed point here for Franz. That said, the momentum still very much with Robles.
6-9.
This is the perfect push. Half long leaves it right at the baseline, much like a half long serve. If you can cause some indecision mid-rally, watch the depth on this shot. Can I attack? Nope. Had to change his mind at the last moment, and it was too late.
9-7. Nine, 8.
Robles celebrates, looking to close in on that lead as we get towards the business end of this second game. Just a single point in it. We are in for a tense finish to this one.
Eight, 10.
Great response from Franziska, earns himself the 2 game points.
Getting that right foot way in under the table to make sure that the leg is forward, the hip is there, and he can take the ball early near the net. Not an easy ball to attack, especially for a big man. This physicality sets you up behind the table. Takes a little bit longer to recover.
Look at the celebration from Patrick Franziska as he levels at a game apiece here, takes that one 11 points to 8 and celebrates to himself. Really means so much to him to have given himself a bit of a chance in this one. But we are level at a game apiece as Franziska holds his nerve and holds on to wrap up the second one. 11 points to 8 then, to the German.
Come on.
Well, Franziska makes his way back over to the table with a spring in his step, and why wouldn't he have? Having held off a spirited challenge from Alvaro Robles in the second.
Oh, down the line, taking advantage, taking that net all the way to the bank. From the baseline, moves right back in. Back near the barriers a bit, keeping the top spin on. This is where he moves back in. And as Patrick Franziska pivots, ball gone.
1-0.
This, for me, is one of the key qualities of Patrick Franziska's game that's helped him beat many of the best in the world. Giant Slayer for a reason. In the fast pace of play, he can just snap it back with a short stroke.
1-2.
And a gift, a Liu. Welcome to Chongqing, and here is a service for you. Takes a gamble here. Quick pivot. Says, I think you're most likely to play this safely on the diagonal, so I'm going to start my step around. Get that forehand ready.
Two, three.
And a nice change of pace, slowing it way down. France brushing that ball in a fast rally to take all the heat off it. Leave it awkwardly in front of your opponent's feet.
Four, two.
Good shot block here from Robles. Heavy side and under, but a good read from France. Then a bit more side spin attempted for what looked like it could have been an around the net backhand. There's the chop block. See the curve on that ball. Then a soft shot here. Would have loved to see that one skirt around the net.
Net. 4-2.
Well, real attacking power from Franziska, but just suffered with the accuracy at the end. Sent his shot skyward, really.
Yeah, the amount of spin that Robles generates there, and a little bit of fortune. He raised his hand in apology, whether it's the edge of the racket or the back edge of the table. These subtleties make a big difference. As you saw from the net adjustment before the match, think about how much effort goes into making sure that everything in this arena is infinitely pristine. That's the level of detail required from both of these world-class players. Every rally.
5-4.
And that really was world-class.
Parallel shot like this in near the table, you can see the stress. The face doesn't hide the emotions here. Oh, how fluid that wrist is. Be water, my friend.
5-4.
Any other Bruce Lee quotes you feel apply, just throw them in whenever.
Leave that one with me.
Deal.
Oh! 5-6.
In the game of hot potato, that push rally, it's Robles who goes baseline first, gives the opponent the opening.
7-5.
Every shot in the game at this level, there are glamorous shots, yes, the drive, the loop, the counter, but the pushes as well. A good long push or a slow spinny shot with a little more arc on it. Watch this one. Shallow shot, doesn't come to the baseline, changes the timing for France. So second towel break and Robles up by 2, looking to get a 2-1 lead in games in this best of 5.
8-5.
Well, he extends his lead to 3 points, lets out a big scream of celebration.
For me, a big part of that was the serve came longer than you have to imagine he intended, or not as long, but it was in between, it was lukewarm, and he still won the point.
5-9.
These last 2 points for me, it's a morale boost, it's a confidence booster, and it's a reminder that he's adaptable. Even if everything's not going perfectly, he's got some serious momentum here.
Yeah, 7 of the last 8 points have gone the way of the Spaniard. So yes, Adam, absolutely serious momentum at the minute with Alvaro Robles.
9-7.
Some big steps here and a quick pivot as France turns the corner. It's a step around battle. Robles says, you know what, if I try the short side, I think it's too low percentage. I'm going to go as wide to your backhand as I can and see if you can still step around. Big serves to come with a 2-point lead. Could serve out the game.
9-8.
Well, that is disappointing. Pushes that forehand into the net and calls for the timeout.
Está el mismo que ha hecho el antes que te lo ha dejado. Que siga delante, ¿no? No te ha ayudado, sí. va a venir con el revés. Cosas que tienen más sentido ahora, piénsalo bien. Lo único, si saca este y te resta, tú vas como de antes, no lo pienses, ¿eh? Te tienes que ir a coger la bola lo más alta y a su cuerpo, ¿eh? No la juegas en el sitio, ¿eh? Cualquier pelota busca, no se la ponga en el sitio. O la abre o busca su cuerpo, ¿vale? Y si te resta un poco alto, luego, importante, si vas a ir al día a día, luego te saca disco, te está sacando mucho half-low y pivota directamente. Es difícil paralelo, pero aunque sea bajita y no ángulo, si no para paralelo, pero no me la he hecho 3 o 4 veces. Half-low, sube y diagonal.
Auf geht's, auf geht's. Come on.
Well, Robles look to be closing in on the end of this third game. During that timeout, Adam, I pushed you for a prediction and you refused to give me a name.
Yeah, no, it wasn't so long ago. I didn't expect you'd forget that refusal. Good times, good times. No, it's too close to call. I think at this level, it could go either way on any day for any players, and these two as close as they come.
8, 10.
Now this is heavy spin. Robles here using that wingspan. They're two tall players. Both of these players are exceptionally tall. The very tail end of the bell curve in height for table tennis, where it's not necessarily advantageous to be tall. Deng Yaping, one of the best stories in the game, 4'11". Sun Yingsha, not especially tall, but these two out here, it's Franziska serving against 2 game points.
11-8, game to Robles.
11 points to 8. This one goes the way of the Spaniard, takes the lead of 2 games to 1. It's a bit of a funny shot to end that one. Robles raised the hand by way of apology, but he won't care too much, will he? Now that he's got that 2 games to 1 lead. So a must win then for Patrick Franziska when new players return to the table. Well, players back out onto the table. It's Patrick Franziska who's the one playing under pressure. This, of course, an absolute must-win game for him if he is to stay in this tournament. Robles pepped up and ready to go.
Nice tight serve here. On the shorter side of half long, a little bit of top and side spin it appeared, begging the flick, the attack from the Spanish stallion. And solid in the blocking game as well, with the shield high, keeps the racket up on top of the bounce to make sure he's got that positioning near the table. Right into the elbow. Taller players have a bigger midsection between their forehand and backhand, the middle.
1, 2.
So they tend to use the backhand to block, but Franz playing a very active game as opposed to a more passive, conservative game. This is smart. Franz hits him in the backhand corner, but gets him to step around and play the forehand. Says, I know what you want. There it is, and then right back the other way. That's a real test of the legs out here. Haven't seen much from the reverse pendulum serve. Taller players like to do this, lefties quite a lot as well, but Franz bringing it out crucially here.
1-5.
Robles hangs his head in disappointment, just can't connect with that one, just hasn't had a look in at all in this fourth game. It's all been Franziska so far. He's had it all his own way. Has a nice, healthy 4-point cushion.
One, 6.
A lot of work to stay in the point. Started off immediately with an aggressive receive. Franziska punishing Robles for what appeared to be a good bottle challenge serve. Tough to surprise someone at this level.
7-1.
Another reverse pendulum serve and another outright point. I know I'm not in the business of predictions, but you are. And if I remember correctly, you said you believe this one would go to the 5th game. At this point, if it doesn't, this would be one of the greatest comebacks in any individual game I've seen. But Franz turning things around big time.
1-10.
Robles, 9 points down. Has to save 9 game points for my prediction to be proven wrong. This for a 5th and final game here.
Game to Franziska.
Patrick Franziska wraps that one up with ease. He made it look easy out there, didn't he? Robles just didn't have a look in, and we are heading to a 5th and final game. The decider will shortly be upon us. That was an interesting game, Adam.
It sure was. It was quite a telling sign. It was a message you send back to the village when a criminal rides in. This is the way of being posse. This is the way of protecting your side. Patrick Franziska with a few subtle changes.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you'll get your first month free when you join today. Sign up for just $1 down, $24.99 a month.
Well, here's another look behind the scenes. The practice hall is a hive of activity. Every single table taken. And next up, that is Dina Mesresh of Egypt. She will be next up, taking on Kim Ne-young. Both of those players taking the time to practice ahead of their match. They'll be following this one. Egypt versus the Republic of Korea. That is to follow this one, but before that we have the decider out here. Adam, you don't like to predict.
I got excited for the Kim Na-young Dina Meshref match. The Queen of Egypt and an up-and-coming star for Korea, but the decider, look at this. What's that? Wow, not quite twice as likely, but significantly better in Game 5. Patrick Franziska, from the start, was the favorite. Game number 4, 11-1. Momentum and the stats you saw on screen. It's Robles to change the stats and history forever here, starting with the serves.
Love 1.
For me, game number 4 was a big sign. If you're Lars Hilshire, the coach for the German giant slayer, Patrick Franziska, sometimes just going back to the basics and doing them with quality, that's enough. Franziska's so good with short strokes. He's so good in the table game, meaning the short play doesn't have to take the opening attack. He can counter well near the table. Third time that reverse pendulum hasn't had an answer. Not a popped-up receive. A second bounce on the table. He's varied it so well. A little apology from Franz. It seemed like it got away from him on the contact. First time it's been returned, and Robles takes the point. At least to my memory. Of the last 4 reverse pendulum serves we've seen, Robles with the blocking game there, covers the corner well. This is the point so far of this match. Robles works his way back in from way back. Here's a big counter. That backhand, he took a bit of a risk, and now he's leaping, lunging forward with the parallel forehand to finish. This is the type of point that has serious scar power. It's only worth 1, but it can really crush the confidence of the opponent.
4-2.
And that was a confident point as well. To produce a point like that, having lost the previous game by such a significant margin, is really all the more impressive.
Indeed. First towel break here, 2 points between them. And the momentum heavily with Franz. 14 of the last 16 points for the man with the better seed here, the world number 8, Patrick Franziska.
Five, 2.
Well, that was lightning quick. Blink and you'll miss it.
So they will switch sides of the table here as one player has earned 5 points in the decider. That player, the momentum, Patrick Franziska, toweling off as he switches. Good Chiquita there, side topspin. No problem though. Patrick Franziska's crushed his bananas between just about every game you've watched him over the last decade.
And look at the celebration from Patrick Franziska. Was it a celebration? He lost the point.
So I would say probably not, but the emotions are high. This is an epic counter rally here. Middle to middle, the forehand exchange. Pinning him in the elbow. Looks like he's pointing up at the lights, the screen for a moment. Oh, what a point. Footwork tested. Both wings, Robles in it. And Franz, a little bit of a smile there. After an exhale, a sigh of relief. The power that is required. He takes his chances and still. Look at this jumping, leaping. Back in near the table. Robles is dangerous. You can feel it when your opponent makes his way back in. You're trying to keep that opponent away from the table. Franz manages somehow to still pull it out and extend the lead back to 3.
6-4.
Hypothetically, if that ball comes down, it's still in play. You could hear it hit the clamp of the net, which is considered part of the net assembly. So even though it's the very bottom of the net, the ball's still alive until it fails to hit the opponent's side. By the way, the screen thing, it looks amazing in the stadium. It's wonderful to be here. Day one. We've got a lot of fans here already. I bring it up because when you get far behind the table, you've got a jumbotron over the table. So my guess is that the lighting changes a little bit when you've got the real-time play that you can see, and that's why Franz was pointing up. Will that happen again this event? Who knows?
5-7.
So remember, both timeouts have already been pulled. These players have kicked the bridges off. There's no escaping this deciding game here. In case you were curious about that reference, if you've ever seen The Karate Kid, where they're fighting on that little, the original one that is, the bridges have been kicked off, they can't escape. It's a fight to the finish.
6-7.
Back to just a single point in this 5th and final game now. It was all Franziska, certainly had the momentum, 3 or 4 points ahead, and Robles has now brought himself back to within the single point deficit here, and now has the serve.
8-6.
This is a crucial point. After 6-3, then as you mentioned, bringing it within 1 point, Franz on the receive taking that point. His serves have been effective. The reverse pendulum percentages are working out a little better for Robles than they were first few times. And he survives the reverse pendulum again. This is big, a receiver's game. If he can win 1 more point on receive, it's leveled for the first time this game after being beaten 11-1, and he'll have the serves. Robles fired up. Very smart play, shortens up the serve this time to shut down or make a less comfortable opening attack from Robles. That bounce way inside the table. And with what appeared to be less topspin. Again, topspin makes the ball accelerate towards your opponent's baseline. And underspin keeps it closer to the net. Very effective.
8-9.
Important points now for Robles.
We have to remember, this is a champions event. 1,000 points. The world rankings to the champion of this champions event. And getting through the first round is a big increase in the points you take.
10-8.
2 match points then for Patrick Franziska as Alvaro Robles hangs his head back in frustration. Franziska 2 chances to get this one over the line to seal his place in the round of 16. But Robles is receiving.
Good spin on this one. Playing the percentages here. Robles not going for broke. But doing everything he can to make sure that it's uncomfortable for the opponent. Arcing spin shot, side and top spin to the baseline, and right into that elbow saves 1 match point. 1 more to go for Franz.
11-9.
1 more to go. Didn't need 1 more. Patrick Franziska wraps up a hard-fought win over Alvaro Robles. What a thrilling encounter that was. It went the distance. Patrick Franziska salutes the crowd. What a wonderful, wonderful match that one was. 3-2 for the German, who seals his place in the round of 16. Crushingly disappointing for Alvaro Robles, who made a very strong start, winning the opening game 11 points to 7. Franziska then levelled when he took the second 11 points to 8. And what a funny 4th game that was. Completely one-sided.